A warm welcome to all of you and a heartfelt namaste. Today, our topic is Mars and the 10th house. The 10th house is a house of all our karma. The 10th house is a house where we also go and watch what kind of profession we can do. And the 10th house is a house of our energy center. Everything that we do, good, bad, or ugly, is associated with our karma and the 10th house. So it is a house that is of great importance. In Western astrology, it is also called the zenith, or the one that leads us towards our destiny and ultimately towards the god. Mars is a planet that gets exalted in the 10th house of the natural zodiac, and it gets exalted in its own nakshatra of Dhanishta, the nakshatra of money and responsibility. Why so is a question that we can answer in many other videos. So this is a place that Mars really puts in a lot of effort. It gets digbali. So a person who has a planet Mars, especially in the 10th house, exerts his or her own will, pressure, energy, and rises up in life with their own effort, because Mars gets digbali in the 10th house. Mars is a planet which propels us to work hard. It is the energetic planet. Mars is also called the warrior. And if we want to do remedial measures of Mars, generally we are asked to worship Lord Hanuman or Kartikeya, both very strong warriors and very energetic in their own right. So Mars is a planet of energy. Mars gives us energy. Wherever Mars sits, it exerts its energy, or we put in our energy in that direction. So if Mars is sitting for you in the 10th house, your karmas or your professional life is the place where you're putting in a lot of your energy. For that, for our professional life, if we go on to our D10, check our D10 and see if Mars has any association with the D10 or with the 10th house of the D10. In that case, a person is constantly working towards their personal life, professional life, and they would be exerting their energy there, trying to grow higher and higher in their professional lives. As we move on, we see that Mars gets exalted in the 10th house of the Kalpurush Kundali. The 10th house of the Kalpurush Kundali is the house of Capricorn, is a sign of Capricorn. We all know that Mars gets exalted in the sign of Capricorn. And it gets exalted in, as we know, its own nakshatra. So it is a nakshatra of responsibility. Dhanishta, as the name suggests, in Sanskrit, means something or someone which is rich in wealth of all kinds. And with a strong nature comes a lot of responsibilities. So those people who have a very strong Dhanishta nakshatra also, which is again the nakshatra of Mars, gets a lot of wealth. One example that I can give you is that of the late Scottish actor who had his very strong Mars nakshatras. So Mars nakshatras also bring in a lot of wealth and energy. It also gets directional strength in the 10th house. So wherever Mars is sitting for us, if it falls in the 10th house for us, or in any divisional chart, if Mars happens to be aspecting or sitting in the 10th house, that is the house where you would be putting in a lot of energy, a lot of karma in that particular zone of your life. So as we move forward, we see the chart of a self-made person. And also let's discuss what Saravali also has to say, because these dictums are taken from various classical texts. Saravali in particular also tells us that if a planet is placed in an odd sign, and it is in such a case, the planet gains a lot of energy and strength. So if Mars is a planet, is sitting in an odd sign in the 10th house, in such a case, this Mars gets a lot of strength, courage, and valor to put in a lot of effort. Last but not the least, we also need to see the nakshatra, because the nakshatra is very defining in whether the person will actually be putting in an effort to do the work properly, or would just be putting in an effort to search around, loiter, or fritter away that energy. So we take the case of Lal Bahadur Shastri ji. Lal Bahadur Shastri ji is the late ex Prime Minister of India, wherein he was a self-made person. He rose to power from a very, very ordinary livelihood, ordinary family, and as such was a very principled person. We check the chart of Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, where the Lagna happens to be Scorpio, again Lagna of Mars, and Mars sits in the 10th house along with Mercury and Rahu, and Mars sitting in Leo also sits in the nakshatra of responsibility, that is Magha. Magha nakshatra talks about somebody growing and feeling responsible for others around himself or herself. So here we see that, and Mars in the 10th house obviously aspects the Lagna. So we see a person who takes responsibilities on himself or herself, works towards their karma and converts those karmas into his good prarabdha. Because and we can take the second case of Muhammad Ali. In Muhammad Ali's case, again Mars is sitting in an odd sign in its own Mula Trikona Rashi, with Mars being in the sign of Ashwini, in the nakshatra of Ashwini, and Mars, his Lagna being that of Cancer, Mars sitting in the 10th house in Ashwini nakshatra. Mars is also associated with the retrograde Saturn, which is the 10th lord. And we know Muhammad Ali rose to power again from very, very humble backgrounds and made a name for himself in the world of boxing. I also have Ashwini nakshatra, again is a nakshatra which does things very quickly and needs and wants to aspire to grow big. Reminds me of a chart, because we want to take the chart of people whom we associate with. Reminds me of a chart where Mars is definitely present in the 10th house. Unfortunately, that Mars is present in Mrigasira nakshatra, though it's its own nakshatra. So this person has been desperately trying and searching, being the key word, for a good profession. Though again, when we take the similar chart of PV Narasimha Rao ji, where Mars again is in the 10th house, same in the 10th house of Gemini, but this Mars happens to be in the nakshatra of Rahu, the Adra nakshatra, where the Shakti is Yatna Shakti, the need to exert your effort and then get whatever you want in return for those efforts. So the nakshatra goes a long way in defining how the Mars will expand its energy, whether frittering it away in some search, whether exerting your energy, whether being responsible, or whether having a great desire to grow and to become strong. So these things are the things that we need to really remember while we are watching what Mars does in any house, especially in the 10th house or aspects the 10th house. That is, we need to remember that it gets directional strength in the 10th house. Its nakshatras are very important, because wherever it sits, it will also show those energies. So don't forget these points when we are talking about Mars, the energetic planet. Till we meet with you again, stay safe. Thank you.